So, how is it nature does it? I mean, that's always a good question to me. I mean, how does the forest do it? How does the forest not only organise all its logistics, but also stay reasonably efficient? How does it do it? How does a pond do it? Our famous pond with frogs. How does it do it? How does it know the right balance to have?
I think forests have done it by natural selection. So all the failed plants have died. So the ones that grow too fast and fall over, they've died. Mm-hmm. The ones who grow too slowly and never get to the light have died. And we've just ended up with the best ones. And I guess you could say...
the most optimised ones.
Yeah.
For the context that exists, the forest exists within.
But do we have enough time to say to people, do it your own way, and the ones who don't do it very well will fail and go bust and you'll leave, but the ones who are profitable will stay? Because in a way you're doing that with your bunch of people, aren't you? They do the selling, the production, everything, design, and if they do any of that badly, they fail, like one of those plants in the forest. But maybe if you give them a pretty good start, because you say, here's the best one, copy this, maybe you're only playing tunes on a very good starting point, so they don't fail unless they really are lazy and useless.
But that's the mechanism that's used in the outside world, isn't it? I mean, if you picked up
selection.
If you picked up your yellow pages from 20 years ago and looked at plumbers, and you did the same today and looked at local plumbers, you might find only 20% of the ones who were there 20 years ago are still in business.
Yes.
And it may be that they were the only good plumbers in the day.
Also, I'm thinking, why am I still here? And I'm doing natural selection, but in a multiple way within myself. So I've got a number of different things on the go, some of which work and some won't work, and I'll just keep the ones that do work. But there's enough that work for me to survive. So I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, like some plant that might grow too fast or too slowly.
So what you're talking about there is you're surfing a wave of change all the time.
Yes.
Whilst making a profit doing it.
Yes.
And so that's essentially what each plant in the forest is doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But not at the level of the plant, because the plant is just the plant. So if we can just imagine that a plant, one of your ones that fell over, had a bit of information in it that made it grow tall and thin. Okay? That's what it is. It isn't something that can change within itself.
No.
Okay? It just happens to die. So the plant itself is not where the forest lives, bizarrely. Yeah? The forest exists at the level of the forest as the whole.
It's the whole collection of
plants. The whole collection. Because plants die all the time. Trees in the forest die all the time.
But the forest doesn't die.
The forest doesn't die. So if you can imagine that's true for human beings as well. The human beings die, but the race doesn't die. The human species doesn't die. So the longevity of the species isn't down to the longevity of the individuals within the species. And that's true.
But in your fractal organisation, I think of it as your organisation is the forest, and each person is a plant who may or may not die.
Who may or may not die.
But I think in a way what you're saying is that each person is like a little bit of a forest, because they've got a number of things that... I mean, I'm more of a forest than a tree, aren't I? Because I've got lots of little things going on, and some will die and some won't. But I'm keeping the best ones. And that's why I'm still here after 25 years doing training, because some of my courses didn't sell very well. They've gone by the wayside. Some videos I made were not very good. They've gone by the wayside. But I'm just a collection of the plants that have worked.
Yeah, but you exist at the two fractal scales.
Yeah.
One, the fractal scale of the forest of things you do, but also at the higher level of all the trainers that exist out there, you also exist within that frame.
And if I was totally lazy or not at all creative, I put all my eggs in one basket, then I'd be like one plant, and I do run the risk that I'm going to keel over. And that happens to trainers.